6 time slot, which means it's getting close to lunch. So how many of you guys are hungry? I'm starving, and I actually want to use that as a basis for my message today. My mom has always called my mouth a food magnet. I actually bring a ton of snacks to school. I have like 5 or 6 in my purse right now, just so I have options. I'm pretty well prepared. And the crumbs always get on my mouth. Half the time, I don't even notice, and someone has to point it out to me. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, who is this girl and why is she talking to me about food? But there's a purpose to all of this. We can actually compare our relationship with God to that food magnet on our mouths. When I put food in, crumbs are visible on my face. Just like when I put God into my heart and mind, His love is visible to those around me. You see, the words we speak should be a magnet to attract others to God. We need to fill ourselves up and get covered in Jesus, because when we do that, He will use us as a magnet to attract others to Him. But we have to be willing to go all out for God in order to have that pull of a magnet. We have to seek Him with this hunger we've never experienced with anything else. We need to want Him more than our next breath, our next meal. He must come first in our lives. Luke 9:23 says, "Then He said to them all, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me.'" That does not just mean wearing a cross on your neck or I am second on your wrist. That is not evangelism. It's important to explain to others what they mean and how they're important, but we have to be willing to do whatever it takes to show God's love. When Jesus took up His cross, He was getting ready to die for us. That is huge. But by taking up our cross, like the verse says, that's what we need to be prepared to do. Otherwise, we're just being cowards. If we claim to be Christian but never try to win others for Christ, then we're not living all out for God. God is crying out for this generation to step up and be who He knows who we can be and do what He knows what we can do through Him. According to tothesource.org, 1 in 3 Christian teenagers don't believe Jesus is the only way to get to heaven. That means 1 in 3 of you don't believe you need Jesus to get there. Not only that, but 3/4 of teenagers who attend youth groups either disbelieve parts of the Bible or don't believe in it entirely. Think about it. Think about what needs to be done about it. You all got here from either a friend or family member inviting you to church, and then you making the choice to get involved. But what if they hadn't reached out to you? Where would you be without Christ? A lot of us don't want to think about that possibility. The good news is God has placed such a calling on our lives that we can't even begin to understand. But if we aren't living our life fully for God, we can't accept that call. Revelation 3:16 says, "So, because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth." If you're hiding this precious gift of life God has given you, then you're being lukewarm. And God says He will literally spit us from His mouth because we're too scared to share Him with others. That means you're becoming God's vomit. Now just let that sink in for a second. Think about God actually throwing you up from His mouth because you didn't take up your cross and share His word, but instead you denied others the chance to know Him. And why? Why won't we tell others about Him? It is their right to know Jesus and His love, and it's up to us to provide them with that opportunity. Do we really want to stand before God one day and have to answer for all the people who are burning in hell because we were too scared to show His love? There are people taking their own life every day because they think nobody loves them. They're cutting themselves, calling themselves worthless, struggling with things we can't even begin to imagine. But we have the answer. We know about this awesome God who created them, who sent His own Son to die because of how much He loves them. Yet we won't tell them because we're scared of being judged. Who cares what they think? Jesus was ridiculed for what He stood for. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He brings life to all those who seek Him. Why do we think He deserves that, but we don't? Why do we think we're any better? In Matthew 28:19 and 20, Jesus says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." If I was as well prepared to share my love for Christ as I am for my Hungarian class, everybody would be saved. I may be known as the plug for food in school, but I want to be known as the plug for Christ. So now we're faced with a choice. Just like the crumbs of my food show on my face, will you let God's love and salvation show in your daily life? Or will you choose to be a coward?